Hello, my dear students! Здравствуйте, мои дорогие студенты! Это моя кошка Маруся, ваш новый профессор. Извините, I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. No, it's not your new professor, I'm still here. And I have to say that I'm super happy to be back at YouTube because you know that I extracted my wisdom tooth and it was a very painful process and I was like a monster, very ugly after it, but now I feel much better and I suppose that it's a nice time to restart my YouTube channel and now you can see me again. And let's start our Russian lesson today. At this Russian lesson, I would like to read a beautiful Russian poem written by our famous Russian poet and writer. Of course, you know his name if you are interested in Russia and Russian culture, even more in Russian literature. And of course, I talk about Pushkin Alexander Sergeyevich. So, my plan for today's Russian lesson is first, I read this short poem fast as a Russian native speaker, so it helps you just to get used to Russian speech. And also, if you are fluent in Russian, so you just can listen and try to understand some words or to understand the story, the plot of the poem. Yeah, and second time I read slowly so you can understand each word. So I will pronounce all the words slowly and clearly so you can hear all the endings. Yeah, that's important. And it would be very nice if you try to copy my Russian pronunciation and if you would read out loud together with me so you can practice your Russian pronunciation. Yeah, so let's start. And of course, I will write the English translation too. So first time I read fast as a Russian native speaker. Я вас любил. Любовь еще, быть может, в душе моей угасла не совсем. Но пусть она вас больше не тревожит. Я не хочу печалить вас ничем. Я вас любил безмолвно, безнадежно, то робостью, то ревностью томим. Я вас любил так искренно, так нежно, когда и вам Бог любимой быть другим. So I tried to read this more in an artistic way. I hope you like it. And let me know in the comments below what do you think about this Russian poem. I do think that this is a very deep literature work. It is very short. I mean, the size of the poem, it is very short, but there is a full story, full of life. Yeah, realistic story, very beautiful and sophisticated. Yeah. I love this poem, and I bet every Russian person or people from former USSR republics, of course, they do know this beautiful poem. So now I read it slowly, and you try to understand each word, okay? Я вас любил. Любовь еще, быть может, в душе моей угасла не совсем. Но пусть она вас больше не тревожит. Я не хочу печалить вас ничем. Я вас любил безмолвно, безнадежно, то робостью, то ревностью томим. Я вас любил так искренно, так нежно, как дай вам Бог, любимой, быть другим. And now let's talk about each word. I promised you this Russian practice. So you know the first very important thing. If you want to speak Russian well and in a correct way, you need to know everything about Russian stress. It's super important. So the basic rule, if O is in unstressed position, weak position without stress, we pronounce it as A. And if Y is in unstressed weak position without stress, we pronounce it as E. Okay, now let's practice. You already know the basics of Russian pronunciation. So I start from the beginning and we will explain, I will explain each interesting word. Я вас любил. Nothing interesting here. Любовь. Любовь. That's interesting. So you see that there is a V in the end of this Russian noun, but according to the Russian pronunciation rules, we pronounce this V and in the end of any Russian word. It means any Russian noun, any Russian proverb. Any Russian verb I wanted to say, yeah? If you see V in the end of any Russian word, you have to pronounce these as F, F, not V, but F. And even if you see a tricky soft sign, it doesn't matter. So V in the end of any Russian word you pronounce as F. Любовь. This beautiful word means love. And also we have this female name, Любовь. And the nickname, the short form is Люба. Люба. So what do you think about this name? So I continue. Еще быть может. Here is an interesting short word, еще. Many foreigners who learn Russian, they make this mistake and say еще or something like that. If you see ye in the beginning of any Russian word, you have to pronounce it with y sound. Еще. Еще, yeah? Быть может в душе моей. Моей, interesting word, because you see that here is written O, моей, but we say моей. You remember, I already warned you about the Russian stress. So, O in unstressed position we pronounce as A, моей. Okay? Угасла не совсем. Не совсем. Very interesting combination. So we have here a short negative Russian particle не. Depending on the context, it can mean not or don't, yeah? Не совсем. So particles in Russian language, they are not very individual separated words. So they do not have stress actually in Russian language. So they go together with the next following word. Не совсем. Like one word, yeah? We pronounce this. So не совсем. This O we pronounce as A, of course, because it has no stress in this word. Stress is on the last syllable. Не совсем, yeah? And of course, this V, again, we pronounce as F. But you may ask me, teacher, why? It is not the end of the word. It is the middle of the word. Why do you pronounce here in this position V as F? It's very easy. If V stands in front of any not voiced consonants, like S, it is not voiced, we pronounce V in this position as F. Совсем. Yeah, so V is voiced consonant, F is not voiced consonant. S is not voiced consonant, Z is voiced consonant. So, yeah, not voiced consonants goes together with not voiced consonants. So you see. Но пусть она. Она, again, interesting thing. It's a typical Russian personal pronoun that, of course, you know from your first lessons of Russian language for beginners. It means she, она. So, or is in unstressed weak position without stress. So we pronounce it as а. Она. Вас больше не тревожит. Не тревожит. Again, here we have a negative particle, so it has no individual stress, and we pronounce it like a one word together. Не тревожит. And this е, тревожит, we write е, but we say и, because it is again not stressed position, weak position. Не тревожит, yeah? Я не хочу. Не хочу. So, if your mother tongue is Arabic or Italian, if you are an Arabic speaking person or Italian speaking person, be very careful with this word не хочу, because people from these countries, they very frequently say in Russian не хочу. You don't want to pronounce h sound and you replace h with k. It's more easy to say for you. Yeah, but this is a mistake. So listen, не хочу. Я не хочу means I don't want. But я не хочу means I don't roll anything. Yeah, so totally different verbs, totally different sense of the sentence, so be careful. Я не хочу. And yeah, this negative particle again we pronounce as one word together. Не хочу. And не is in unstressed position, that's why we say и. And хочу we say а, not о, because it is again unstressed position. Я не хочу. Печалить. Печалить. This е is again in unstressed position, so we say печалить вас ничем. Я вас любил безмолвно. Again, you see that we have two o here, безмолвно, but the first o is in stressed position with stress, so we say o, and the last o is in unstressed position without stress, so we say безмолвно, and the first ye is again not stressed, so we say безмолвно. Безнадежно. So in modern Russian language we should say безнадежно, hopelessly, безнадежно. But you know that Pushkin is a classical poet. He wrote many years ago, so at his times people should say безнадежно, but now we say безнадежно. Yeah, and we have some not stressed positions, yeah, so first ye is not stressed and the last o is not stressed, so we say безнадежно. То робостью, робостью. The second o is not stressed, so we say робостью. То ревностью. The same story. We have the same Russian suffix here. Ревностью. Because it is not stressed again, yeah? Тамим. Тамим. Again, or this poor or is very frequently without stress, and we pronounce this poor or as a. Тамим, not томим, yeah? Я вас любил так искренно. Искренно, what a beautiful word. Literally, it means sincerely. Искренно, yeah? So, the stress is in the first syllable, искренно. So, ye in the middle and o in the last syllable, they are in unstressed positions. So, we say искренно. By the way, here is a Russian name that was very popular in USSR, in Soviet Union, Iskra. Iskra, it's a little something, and when you have it, then the fire starts, the flame starts, like, I will put the word here. I do not know the translation actually, but it's a very beautiful name, Iskra. I wanted to call my cat Iskra because she is red colored, she is orange, but her nickname is Marusia, and I'm quite happy with that. Let's continue. Так нежно. Нежно. What a beautiful Russian adverb. Нежно means delicately or tenderly, yeah. So the stress is on не, on the first syllable. So this O in the end we pronounce as А. Нежно. Как дай вам Бог. This is a very interesting word, and when we pronounce the word Бог, we think about the old, we say старая норма, the old norm, if you have this word in English, of Russian language, yeah? So, Бог, it is written G in the end, and according to Russian pronunciation rule, it should be pronounced as Бог, yeah? G in the end of any Russian word, except this one. We should pronounce as K. But Бог, we pronounce this G as H. Бог, it means God. Любимый, любимый, you see that it means favorite or beloved, loved. Любимый comes from the word любить, to love, yeah? So the ending ой we pronounce as I, because this what? In unstressed position again, you know, yeah? Быть другим. So I hope that you understand more or less from this Russian lesson how to pronounce Russian words correctly. And I would like to finish this lesson, but with reading again the whole poem. So I read it fast, and you just try to remember, to recall what we just discussed, and try to repeat with me out loud. It helps you to learn Russian and to speak Russian well. So let's start. Я вас любил. Любовь еще, быть может, в душе моей угасла не совсем. Но пусть она вас больше не тревожит. Я не хочу печалить вас ничем. Я вас любил безмолвно, безнадежно, то робостью, то ревностью томим. Я вас любил так искренно, так нежно, когда и вам Бог, любимой быть другим. So I do hope that you loved this Russian lesson. If so, if you find my Russian lessons interesting, useful, helpful for you in your Russian language studies, feel free to support me and to support my channel. The links for donations are in the first comment below this video. Спасибо. Thank you for watching. Спасибо за просмотр. Увидимся скоро. See you soon. Пока-пока.